started as an exciting experience reserved for very few patients, and now it's becoming more and more widespread and many new indications, and I can offer pacing to some patients maybe 5 years ago not indicated, and now it's a very, very exciting journey. The outcome is safer because you don't have infections, you don't have lead fractures, and you can think about pacing with an indication reserved also for young people, for people after lead extractions doing the procedure combined, so can change everything. I moved from VVI pacing in AFib, permanent AFib. Nowadays, some young patients who need pacing for maybe a low burden pacing, and many years ago I didn't consider these patients, and also patients maybe in the future for dual chamber stimulation. We can say the last guidelines in 2021 should be changed because are confined only for complex patients and patients in class 2B, so we need to change. Of course, the guidelines have to keep this point and to extend the indications to new categories of patients. I can say safe, I can say innovation, and I can say the real future.
I think there's a big change that we've seen in these 10 years. So we've seen different types of leadless pacemakers. We've seen the broadening of the patient selection and more patients being aware of leadless pacemakers. And I think there's been a great addition to battery. We started with patients that were just very old and with indications for leadless pacing, such as patients with a high infection risk. That's how we started. And patients that really just needed VVI pacing, so AFib patients. And now with more options in leadless pacing, we have broadened that selection. So now we also look at patients with complete AV block, which is a good indication now for leadless pacing, patients that are much younger. So I do believe that the patient selection is changing. Although we do realize that leadless pacing has more to offer than is described in the guidelines, and now with all the studies being done and the long-term follow-up we have, I think that in future the guidelines will adapt much more to the option of choosing pacemakers transvenous or leadless. I have this patient who is still full of life, but had a lot of complications with transvenous pacemakers. So he already had 2 extractions, and this patient was extremely afraid of having another pacemaker until I spoke to him about a leadless option, and at first he didn't want to even think about it, but then he trusted me, and we did the leadless pacemaker, and now he's again full of life, playing with his grandchildren, and every time he comes he brings a drawing for me with a drawing that his grandchildren made for me because I gave their grandfather back to them. I really believe that leadless is the future. We have seen complications of transvenous systems that we don't see with leadless pacing. And as you see that leadless pacing is growing, offering more and more different options and broadening patient selection. So I do believe that the future is leadless.